Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7 and today we are checking out another Poikilo. That's with the ultimate goal of seeing if this is worth adding to your collection or your daily carry. Now, this was sent to me by Poikilo and it will go back to them after my review. I don't get to keep it. This was designed and OEM'd by Poikilo. And this one is part of their Bio series. This is their Poikilo Rhino. And let's take a look at that. Whew. She is a beauty. So we've got smooth textured, like pearlescent, stonewashed titanium handles. And we've got a lot of interesting milling. So, we've got a spot for the finger, your pointer finger to rest here, and a little grip for your middle finger. But up here, we've got like these triangles that look really, really good. Yep, and it's mirrored on the back side. And then we've got a half back spacer. We do have some jimps down here, if you can see that. And that is a titanium back spacer. We have a milled titanium non-reversible deep carry pocket clip. Oh, interesting. So if you look in here, you can see a screw, and that screw takes off the back spacer, and I assume leads to taking off the pocket clip. Because if you look, you don't have any exposed hardware, right? The pivot doesn't have anything. You flip it over, you have no exposed hardware whatsoever. So I haven't taken this apart. I'm willing to bet taking that screw out is the first step to getting the whole thing apart, which is kind of cool because the less hardware, the better. And these pivots, I mean, they're just aggressively angular, and I'm here for it. I mean, they match. Man, it's like the more you look, the more you see type of thing. So the pivot shape is matching the top of the scale, which is pretty freaking sweet. Yeah, I like the aesthetic of this a whole lot. All right, let's talk about the ergonomics, because we do have those flat spots. All right, so I get a full 4-finger grip with room to spare, so I can choke up and have room down here, and I can choke back and still have a little room to spare, but have plenty of room up here, right? So this is a big boy. All right, so if I white knuckle it, I can feel the clip in my hand. I don't know how often you guys white knuckle your knives, but if you white knuckle it, you're going to be able to feel the clip. Just casually holding it, like I'm cutting through boxes, cutting through paper and stuff like that, I can feel the pocket clip, but it's not uncomfortable. I just feel it because it's there. You know what I'm saying? So I would say this knife is as comfortable as the Salvatore, the 8-inch tactical one. Not quite as comfortable as the Orca or the Tuna, but this thing's only getting outclassed by the incredibly high standard of the other Poikilos. If you were just to compare this to like a Wii or a Bestech, this is going to be as comfortable, if not a little bit more comfortable than those. And what surprises me is that this doesn't generate any sort of a hotspot. Like I don't even feel it. If you were to ask me, hey, is the handle like angular when you squeeze down on it, or is it pretty smooth? My first thought would be, oh, you know what? It's pretty smooth, right? So you can't. So if this is a concern, which for some people I imagine it would be, yeah, don't let it be. You literally don't even feel this in hand. Now, as far as the, oh, hold on a second. Oh, okay. So I'm dumb. If you actually use these as finger guides, the pocket clip's no longer a hotspot. So if you put your pointer finger here and then you let your secondary finger kind of go in this general direction, yeah. Yeah, see now I can bear down on it and it's not creating a hotspot. So I guess I was just squeezing it like a Neanderthal and holding it in the position that it would be a hotspot. But if you actually like follow this recommendation, it's more than fine. Now, looking at the blade, this is what they call their pearlescent stone wash, which I'm a huge fan of because it's semi-reflective, but it's also, this is going to sound weird, but it's refreshing. Like if I was thirsty and then I stared at this in the light, I wouldn't be thirsty anymore, right? And I know that doesn't make any sense, but that's just how I feel whenever I look at this pearlescent stonewash finish. We do have a tanto. I know it looks a little Persian-y, but we technically do have a secondary tip. So you could call it like a Persian tanto. I know some people don't like Persians. And the reason for that is because typically if it's a Persian, you have to get way up here to do your cut. But since it's a Persian tanto, you don't have to do that. You can use this secondary tip and just make any cuts you need to. Now, if you don't like the secondary tip, then you can just sharpen it as if it were a Persian, and that tip will go away after, probably 2 sharpenings, right? If you like the tip, then you want to make sure that you sharpen here and sharpen here separately to preserve that. Me personally, I don't see many Persian tantos, and I think it looks really good. So for me, I would sharpen this, and preserve that tip as much as I could. Now, like almost every Poikilo, this is a full flat grind. That's just consistent throughout their makes and models as far as I've seen. Like all the ones I've reviewed lately have all been a full flat. And then they've all come in M398. So M398 is like, it's literally M390, but with better edge retention, like much better edge retention. And whenever you have to sharpen it, it's going to be a little bit harder because the properties that give it better edge retention are the same properties that are going to make it, it's going to want to retain the edge while you're sharpening it. You know what I mean? So it'll make it a little more difficult. But you'll be sharpening it so much less often that the juice is worth the squeeze. And one thing I appreciate is that, there's thought behind this. As in, they make their knives super comfortable and they make their blade steel with M398 with super high edge retention, which means even though they're high-end knives, the thought behind them is that you can use them all day long. You can use them all day, every day. There's no mistake. As designy and nice as these knives are, they're definitely function over form. It's just a nice bonus that they're designed in a way, well, at least in a way that I love. I assume they've got a flavor for everybody, but these are designed to be workhorses. And that's just something, whenever you spend this kind of money on a knife, you're not really sure. Like, is this something I can use? Should I put it in the safe? Should I lightly carry it? They made it easy. I mean, sure, you can just make this a collector piece, but you can also use the crap out of it and know that, day in and day out, it's gonna function. It's gonna do its job for you. The ability to, I'll say the stamina of this knife is insane. And your ability to use it consistently with the ergos is also going to be kind of insane. So I just love it whenever that kind of thought is put behind a design. There weren't any sacrifices made here. I will say that we have some jimps. These jimps are for indexing. Basically, just to let you know that you're touching the back of the blade. They're not functional though, right? If you try to lock in, it's going to be like trying to plant your feet on an ice rink. You're just going to, see what hey, it just doesn't, you can't. Let's talk about the action a little bit. So this, as of right now, is a shake shut, but I can tell after break-in, this is going to be a hydraulic close. So acoustics on the way up, fantastic. The disengage, we get a nice little tactile click. And then on the way down, we get a pretty solid little like thump. I would say the acoustics are average for the disengagement and the drop. The acoustics on the drop will get better when this gets more drop shutty, but the acoustics on the way out is really where the magic happens, right? Yeah, so if you, well, that, see, I think it's starting to break in a little bit as I speak. Okay, I like the acoustics a bit more. Acoustics are a holistic package, right? Like I want it to be good on the way out. I want it to be good on the disengagement. I want it to be good on the drop. And on the drop there, it sounded like it was loosening up a little bit and making contact a little more readily. So I do like the acoustics. They're not as good as the Orca or the Tuna, but they're still very good. And then lock bar access. So something that they do that I appreciate is not only do they scallop in here to make it easier to make contact, but they also scallop over here to make it easier to actually get in there, right? So I just take my thumb, I come in, I push, very easy, very comfortable. And that's something I feel like it's forgotten sometimes. You know, the majority of collectors want to some extent to be able to fidget with their knife. And if the deployment's great and the close is great and it's drop shutting and it's fantastic, but the disengagement is freaking miserable, well, then that kind of takes out some of the fidgety goodness. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh man, I would love to keep fidgeting with this knife, but my thumb hurts now. And, you know, in the morning when you wake up and you pick a knife to use for the day, at least for me, that's a big deciding factor on if I'm going to grab, you know, a specific knife or not. Can I fidget with it? Well, if it's sharp and I can fidget, I'm sure it can handle whatever I have going on that day, so I'm going to grab that one. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that there's that much attention put into the disengagement. Now, unlike the other ones, this is not an inset liner lock. This is actually a frame lock. So, and it does a non-reversible clip. So with the inset liner locks, I was saying they're lefty friendly because you don't have to worry about where to place your thumb. With this one, while it can be operated left-handed, it's not lefty friendly by nature. It's lefty friendly as in, sure, you can use it and you're probably going to be fine using it, but there's nothing about the knife itself is saying, hey, if you're a lefty, we can make this work, right? In reality, if you're a lefty, you just have to make it work, right? So as far as the overall length, we're looking at 8.55 inches, blade length of 3.55 inches, and that's giving us a blade to handle ratio of 0.71 and a total weight of 4.06 ounces. Now that's one thing you'll notice about Poikilo knives is the inch to ounce ratio is not something they shoot for. Yeah, they do mill out their knives for weight reduction, but they're not trying to go 3 inches and 3 ounces. That's just not their goal. Their knives are built robust, right? So they do take weight relief into consideration, but you know, they're not trying to make a Vosteed Martin. You know what I'm saying? This isn't their goal. Their goal is to make good-looking, robust knives that are going to work hard and last forever. And the trade-off for that, to some extent, is going to be the knife's a little bit heavier. So let's do some size comparisons. We're going to start with the milled aluminum Civivi Brazen. which is coming in about an inch shorter. Yeah. And then let's do the Civivi button lock Praxis, which is coming in. I mean, it's really neck and neck. I mean, technically the Civivi, let me be fair. Technically the Civivi Brazen, you can't see it, but I can, is a little bit longer, but we're talking like a 1/16 of an inch, right? So pretty close to the same size. And then we're going to do the Real Steel Sylph, which is going to get dwarfed. And then let's go ahead and check it against some of its brothers and sisters. We'll do the Poikilo Salvatore. And this thing's a behemoth. And let's go ahead and do the Poikilo Orca. Quite possibly the most comfortable knife of the lineup. Okay, so they're all pretty close. And then we've got this fat boy, the Poikilo Tuna. And I do have reviews for all three of these other knives. So you can check those out. And then this guy's just a little chonker. Look at that, not to sidetrack, but that wood grain carbon fiber. Jesus. So good. All right. So what's the price on this? Well, the price on this version is $450. That is not a small amount of money. That is a big amount of money. And I want to be clear, you do not have to spend $450 to get a good, hard use, functioning folder. If you want to spend around $100, you can get this Vosteed Martin. And this thing's awesome. I mean, it's 154 cm. It's going to do 99% of everything you want it to do. It's stylish. The colors are cool, right? It's about $100. If your budget's a little below that, you've got the Real Steel Sylph. Am I missing a screw? No, I'm not. You've got the Real Steel Sylph. This thing brand new comes in at about $60. And it's snappy, good action. I say that. There it is. Good action, you know, comfortable, lightweight, good EDC. Kind of an integral because it's like folded steel. But yeah, I mean, this will do you just fine. This will do you just fine. You want to do $70? Guess what? This is going to do you just fine. You do not need to go, if you don't want to, you can spend about 30 or $40 and get an absolutely awesome daily user, just to be clear. Now, if you're like me, or some other collectors, and you want a little more sauce, you want something a little spicy, something zesty, right? You know, you don't want to walk out, you know, to the driveway and pick between your, you know, your Honda, your 2002 Honda Accord, or your, you know, 1999 Toyota Camry, right? That's not the kind of decision you want to make in the morning. You would rather pick between like your Aston Martin or your Lamborghini, right? So that's kind of like what this is for knife people, right? I want to wake up in the morning and I want to have a decision like this to make. I want something that is aesthetically appealing, something that is beyond amazing quality, something that is kind of like representative of me in my mind, right? This is the kind of decision I want to make. And knowing that the build quality, which in my opinion it exceeds Riot, the materials that go into it, knowing that the designers are the OEM and the level of quality that comes with that, these are things that are very important for me. And for me, that makes these purchases that I haven't made yet. I will eventually, but money's money. That makes these knives worthwhile for me, right? So these aren't going to be for everybody, and rightfully so. Whether you want them and your budget doesn't allow for it, or if you just don't want to spend that kind of money on a knife because you know that you can get a good functioning knife for 30 or 40 bucks, either way's fine. But for me, these hit a certain sweet spot. And they have, I mentioned this in another video, they have the regular version of like the Poikilo Rhino, but then they have the mid-tech version. And the mid-tech version has like this dark zirconia for the pivot collars, for the pocket clip. It's a little more expensive, but holy cow, that thing is beautiful. So it's probably self-evident by now, but would I carry this? Abso-flippin-lutely. I've enjoyed the time that I've carried it so far. Would I collect this? 100%. Absolutely, I would. It can do either. It can do both. So I am likely going to pick up the mid-tech version with that dark zirconia, and I'll probably daily carry that, but also have it as a collection piece. So if this is not the price category of knife for you, then you shouldn't buy it, right? If you're in a different price point, if you're at $50 or $200, right? Then there's plenty of great options in those categories. You do not need to jump up to this. However, if you're already looking in the $400 to $500 range, that's already where you're at, and you're just checking out your options, I can say at $400 to $500, Poikilo is going to be the highest quality brand that I've handled, and that includes, Riot, that includes Bestech, right? That includes MaxAce, right? That includes We, that includes a lot of these premium Chinese OEMs, and I can say that with confidence that Poikilo is a step or two ahead of all of them, and for me, that's worth the extra $50, extra $100. On top of the design language, do you know how hard it is to introduce a new design in 2025? Not just a new design, but so many new designs. It's refreshing. So yeah, I can absolutely recommend this knife for the people that are already shopping in this territory. They're just looking at their different options. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with the Civivi, right? I own plenty of them. I love Civivi. And if that's where you're comfortable, then stay there until you're ready, or if you ever decide to move up, right? I just don't want anybody going out and rushing out to buy this if their most expensive knife is $100. Like, you don't need to worry about this right now. Maybe in the future. You know what I'm saying? It's not a race to get the most expensive knife or to build your collection as fast as possible. You got to kind of do it on your own time. I've been collecting now for about 3 years, and only in the last, I would say, 6 months have I been looking in this price category, right? But I know some people that have been collecting for a week, and they're like, that knife looks so good, $1,000. And it's like, holy cow, right? So, just go at your own pace. So my question for you, as always, is this something that you would carry, or is this something that would find its way into your collection? And if not, I'm just curious, why not? So drop that comment down below and follow me at, I'm going out of order here, but I'm going to roll with it. Follow me at SEVRSEVN on Instagram and TikTok. And if you like videos like this, hit the like button. Also, subscribe. And there's a giveaway video from about 2 days ago. It's 4 minutes long. The thumbnail says giveaway all over it. So click on that. All you have to do is leave a comment that says my name. All the instructions are in the video. It's super easy. And then we're going to do a live drawing. And it's going to be April 15th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And all that information's in the video as well. But, free knives, right? Why not? You know what I'm saying? So make sure you hit that video up. Otherwise, thank you, as always, for the love, the support, the subscribers. I mean, not to sound cliche, but like, you guys are awesome. I literally couldn't do this without you. You know, the comments, the feedback, all of it. It's all so helpful. So thank you guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.